Good day and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. In today's update of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia, the fighting continues. The armed forces of the Tigray region continue with its wide spectrum operations that are ongoing from Adi Arke in the direction of Sakota and then west of those environments, with the goal of, again, wide spectrum operations from Sakota all the way from Adi Arke heading in a direction southwest, with the intent of possibly seizing control or severing permanently the Gondar Bahir Dar Highway. We continue to see forces of the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue to operate overland over this very rough and sparse terrain as forces continue to press in a southwesterly direction with ultimately the possibility of those objectives as mentioned earlier. We continue also to hear reports coming out of the region that there is a continued military buildup of both of the Amhara region and the Ethiopian National Army that continues to possibly prepare for rumored offensive operations against the Tigrayan Defense Forces. Now, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Specifically, we continue to hear rumors, we continue to see other channels, we continue to see content coming out of the region, coming out of other areas that would suggest that a very large offensive operation by this triple alliance with Ethiopia, the Amhara region, and elements of the Eritrean army could launch a general offensive against the Tigray region with the goal of possibly seizing very large targets such as Mekelle. Now, you have to understand first that is simply not possible at this stage of the war. It was many months ago, and obviously the Ethiopian army, the Eritrean army, was able to secure much of the urban objectives inside of the Tigray region, but that has since passed, and those forces have been evicted. Now, you have to understand the difference in terms of the operations that took place in late 2020 versus any operations that could take place now. You have to understand that the Tigray region was not mobilized, and furthermore, and this is very important, we're not prepared for a multi-pronged invasion from both Eritrea and Ethiopia. And compounding that without being mobilized, the ability to resist that sort of conventional operation just simply at the time was not present. Furthermore, once that operation took place, a great deal of atrocities were committed inside of the Tigray region that has further mobilized and motivated the Tigray region to fight against these two external actors. So if we look at the possibility of another invasion after the Tigray region has fully mobilized with 200,000 personnel, and with the full understanding that if they are reoccupied by these same forces, such as the Amhara paramilitaries, Fano, the Ethiopian state, the remnants of the Ethiopian state, which is more merging with the Amhara regional militias and the Eritrean army, and they fully understand that those same sort of atrocities would be committed again, and quite possibly looking at in terms of extinction. Some of the rhetoric that is coming out of the Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa would indicate a level or a desire to implement an extinction level event against the Tigray region. So the motivation for the Tigrayan region to resist Another invasion is much higher. They're much more motivated than they were prior to the original invasion that took place in late 2020. And furthermore, they're very mobilized now. They're motivated and mobilized to prevent such invasion occurring. Again, it's completely different dynamics now, currently, with an understanding of what transpired, how the Tigray region was treated, the atrocities that were committed. Furthermore, with the mobilization that has also been undertaken by the Tigrayan Defense Forces to prevent said invasion from happening again. Compounding that, the Tigrayan Defense Forces have created strategic depth. They occupy very significant areas of the Amhara region, all the way down towards Dessie, and again, very significant areas to the west as well, that would first quite possibly have to be retaken before a further invasion of the Tigray region could be implemented. Now, we've heard talk of possible operations coming out of the Afar region. Unfortunately for the Ethiopian state and their allies, there's just not the infrastructure to facilitate a major conventional invasion of the Tigray region coming from the Afar region. Just not going to happen. We've heard reports of fighting that may be occurring east of Mekelle, but a conventional attack, a successful conventional attack that would move forces from the Afar region and look to seize control of Mekelle is highly, highly doubtful. Could we eventually see a full-on invasion of the Tigray region that could be successful? Absolutely, it could happen, and I would say that would happen at least a year from now. The Ethiopian army would have to reconstitute itself. It would have to train up, re-equip, prepare. It would also need to probably retake many of these areas that have been taken from the Amhara region by the Tigrayan Defense Forces, and that would be an uphill fight, as much of this terrain is very well defendable. The operations that would need to take place to seize control of areas near and north of Mersa, Weldia, Kobo, Lalibela, Gashina, Sakota would be very challenging for the Ethiopian army to accomplish, for the Amhara regional militias to accomplish. So any talk that is filtering out of Amhara media, Ethiopian state media, that a preparation for a successful invasion of the Tigray region, a reinvasion of the Tigray region, is imminent, I would say that is highly doubtful and is looking to deviate from the battlefield setbacks that are continuing to occur from the Tigrayan Defense Forces continuing its deep penetration and infiltration operations deep inside of the Amhara region. And the Tigray Defense Forces continue to control the clock. They continue to control the tempo of the conflict. The Ethiopian army, the Amhara regional state militias are responding to actions by the Tigrayan Defense Forces and are very challenged to launch its own offensive operations that could be successful. Now, will that status quo remain the same? We'll have to see what happens. But right now, the simple fact is, from a military standpoint, again, remove all political equations, remove all any biases, and right now, the Tigrayan Defense Forces are militarily the more successful of the two sides. They are winning. They are capturing and holding territory and making the other side respond to its actions. Now, with that being said, one of the strategies of the Ethiopian state is the Anaconda strategy, designed to strangle the Tigray region. Is that successful? Partially, yes, it is. And that is one reason why the conflict continues. And will that Anaconda strategy continue to be successful? We'll have to wait and see what happens. But any idea that we could see a major offensive with the reconquest of the Tigray region is simply fantasy at this point. Have a great day, everybody.